Hello, everybody. Hi, Alexey. Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you. Can you see me?
Yes, I can. It's great to see you again. How have you been?
Oh, good. Yeah, it's pretty busy, but all good.
That's good. How's the situation in Moscow at the moment? Do you get access to pools or anything?
Not yet.
Yeah, same here.
Which is, yeah. I think the first thing I will do is I'll go to the pool and I'll just train for 2 hours instead of 1. Maybe 3 hours.
Yeah, we also can't wait to get into the water. Well, thanks a lot for joining tonight. It's great to see you again. Yes, you are the number one person to go to when it comes to Monofin Freediving. So I'm really glad to have you on the call tonight. Monofin is something that everybody's dreaming about when it comes to freediving. Everybody wants to learn it. So can you give us a few tips on how to get started, on what exercises people can do, what they can focus on?
Well, the Monofin is a big piece of equipment. So when we preparing to start with it, we need to make sure our muscles and our like body and leg muscles are synced in a good coordination. So like if we start with the Monofin without preparation exercises, it'll be hard to coordinate our legs and body. So it all moves with a nice synchronicity. So like Monofin, I wouldn't call it like, especially freediving Monofin, I wouldn't call it like a very hard to learn technique. So it's pretty much like just like you need motivation for this. It's like learning bicycle, right? When you learn bicycle, it's a little bit hard in the beginning and like coordination is a bit of a challenge. But then when you learn it, you like fly above the ground. And like with Monofin, it's the same thing. If you want speed, if you want the sensation of like you flying underwater, like Monofin gives that much more than any other fins. So Monofin like really pushes you forward with much less effort, less than bi fins. So like this is some sort of motivation you can have in your head. Then in freediving, like compared to fin swimming, speed swimming, there is like a need for the strong muscles because it's stiff fins, it's like high speed. So but in freediving we use soft Monofins. So for soft Monofins, it's still big. It's like 70 centimeter wide, almost 70 long.
Wow.
And we need like to sync our muscles before we even put it on our feet. So we do this with the rubber fins in the water. So we practice dolphin kicking in the water, and we practice exercises on land, dry exercises on land, like learning how to engage our, like the most important parts is like thinking from like down towards up. It's like ankles. We need strong ankles and flexible ankles, and we need the strong calf muscles. So that's something like where you actually push the fin with your feet. So you should have a good, strong but flexible connection from your legs to the fin. So that's ankle strength and flexibility. Then it's knees control, so you don't bend your knees too much. We all know that like the modern technique is about straight legs, but it doesn't need to be completely straight, but like roughly 20, 30, up to 40 degrees is okay if you use your hips and your body for the movement, not your knees, and you don't bend your legs. And then you go up, it's like hips, and then the hips should work a lot. The whole strength comes from the hips, and then you basically engage your hips and your like body muscles, like abdominals, back, and all that you can do with the soft, short fins. That's like the best learning curve. Start with the short, soft, soft fins, and then you progress towards the Monofin.
So you don't need a Monofin to start.
You don't need the Monofin to, well, you need a Monofin to try. How does it feel? Because it feels awesome. So you can, but basically for exercises with the Monofin, you just need both. Like you have rubber fins, which you do for the most part of the exercises and training, and then you put Monofin in the end, right, to put it to like sum everything together. So if you have Monofin, it doesn't mean you train the whole training with the Monofin. You start with the soft fins, you do exercise with the soft fins, and then that's what everyone do. Experienced freedivers, experienced fin swimmers. So even like in the speed sport, you do most of the training with the rubber fins, and then you like put on the Monofin for the most important part of the training. But like the beginning and exercise is done with the soft and rubber fins.
So what would you focus on in dry training? At the moment, nobody can go to the pool or to the lake or whatever. And usually people, they don't have that much water time when they have a real life with a real job and kids and family. So is there anything they can do dry?
Yeah, for the dry, you can work on flexibility. So you can stretch your ankles. You can work on flexibility of like ankle, calf muscles. You can stretch your calf muscles. You can stretch the whole backside of the leg. Usually that's the most problematic zone. So it's like when you start to stretch them, it's ligaments under the knee. So like behind the knee, you need to stretch this area, and like hamstrings are usually not so flexible, and glutes. So basically just to learn how to fold forward, do the forward fold with a straight back. So you have a straight back and you can just fold forward. And if you do this, your back basically is like a leverage when you pull all backside of your legs. So like fold forward, flexibility, stretch your quadriceps, try to stretch your ankles and quadriceps when you like pull your leg and try to get your heel as close to your bum. Basically, you just pull it. So like stretching all the back surface of the leg, all the front surface of the leg, hips and spine mobility. So like if back and spine is not that flexible, that's usually a limiting factor. So like try to arch your back, like roll your back, arch your back. So try to like increase this mobility in your spine, in your whole body. That's for the actual kick. For the aero position, to be hydrodynamic, like you need to you should have very flexible shoulders. So stretching the shoulders, being able to do a nice aero position, like that's something like you can do with the arms while you have time, right? So flexibility is like usually like the most important. Like if you have flexibility, it's much easier to pick up technique again because we don't need that much strength. If then you feel at some point like your legs get tired when you swim, like long distance or the depth, if you have flexibility, it saves you much more energy at the beginning because you have less resistance. You don't need to work so hard because your streamline position is better because you like glide better, and the strength is more like secondary in the beginning. It's flexibility. So like a lot of stretching right now would be very helpful.
So that's good news because you can do stretching almost everywhere.
Yeah, and even after pools are opening up, still continue to do that. Don't think like it's like only now. Like when we train in the pools, you go to the pool, you train there, do the basic training, but then you also have like dry training. So follow up the dry training to like do additional workouts on the land and progress faster. I think that was like a good learning experience. Like just for example of like our Moscow school, we didn't really pay so much attention for dry trainings before. It was a lot of pool trainings, courses, but then now it's like we have this extra classes with students, and it feels like when they go back to the water, they'll feel like much stronger and much more flexible. And then this is something to keep after the pools are even open. So you go to the pool a couple of times a week, like 3 times a week, but then you also do like 2-3 times a week dry training, potentially like webinars also with an instructor to be motivated and stretch more. And then if your stretching is good, you can do more strength. So you basically do abdominal exercises. You imitate the dolphin kick, like you do you fold laying on the back, so you get your arms in air, your legs in the air. So you basically imitate the whole kicking, being on the back, being on the belly. I saw the question about like examples of the dry exercise. So you can actually like stretching, but also you can do like imitate the kicking. Like if you lay on the belly, if you lay on the back, you can just like work. It's like a workout, but you are in the aero position, like it's swimming position. So your arms are in the aero position, your legs are straight, and you have pointed toes, and then you fold together to work on the core muscles.
Yeah, I think it's really important to not to use the knees exclusively and be straight in the back like you see many times. So I bet that that's really helpful.
Yeah, and like it's a lot about like not being using the knees. It like really like pushes you to use your hips and your body more. But to do this, you need flexibility in the spine. If you don't have this mobility and like it's hard to like swim. So like if you see that some problems in switching from knees to the whole body movement and straight legs kicking, then like do more stretching, like every training, even when you come to the pool, like do 10 minutes, 15 minutes of exercises in the pool, like work on the flexibility and then go in the water.
Yeah, so you also are saving on water time, and which is really precious for most freedivers.
Exactly.
Yeah, great. When people want to start with their own monofin, what would you recommend? I mean, the kind of what foot pockets and what material, or what do they have to look for?
Well, I think the latest trend in the monofin, like some years ago, I remember when I was starting freediving in 2005, it was like more like a stiffer fin, and like because then there was not so many freediving models, and like the models from fin swimming, they are more stiff naturally because they're aiming for speed. And I think lately, a lot of the deep divers, they focus more on the like, and naturally we want to save oxygen, so we want to have very gentle technique, like try to have as little efforts as possible, and then softer blades is a generic trend, and it just depends on your weight and your strength. If you're very strong and heavy, then you can probably go towards like medium or hard even. Just it also preference. Like some people, like feel comfortable like applying more power, and then having like this phase of relaxation and gliding. It's not for everyone. Like some people like actually like are more active, are more like type of freedivers that need to feel a little bit of more speed. But that's always a fine-tuning process. Like if you're trying to fine-tune your technique, you always need to like see your strong sides. And if you have a good breath hold, if you're very relaxed and you have a good breath hold, then definitely the softer fins is a better choice, because you can relax, you can glide, and you can do a couple of kicks. Like then you approach like diving through relaxation. So so soft, medium are the main stiffnesses right now. And right now we, for example, in our monofins, we increase the range like with a different blade sizes. So we have soft 1, soft 2, medium 1, medium 2, and like soft 1 is like for normal standard size girls. Soft 2 is like for guys, but it's actually not really attached to the genders a lot. It's like more like, okay, it's if like a girl wants a soft fin, but she's like tall, and 1.80 meters, or like 1.75 meters even, so 80, then she can use soft 2 as well, because she's also taller. And there is medium 1, medium 2. So medium 1, and it's also for the guys who are like a little bit lighter and smaller, then they maybe take medium 1. So it's like we have this flexibility right now, and the main stiffnesses will be like soft 1, soft 2, medium 1, medium 2. Hard is very, very rarely used, and we see this also in like statistics. That's hard as usually like almost no one take it, but then some people still who have really like more of a like speed swimming approach to freediving, they still like to have hard, and especially like fin swimmers, or like still like they sometimes use hard ones as well. But then softer ones just allow for their more straight leg technique, and with the straight legs, it's really hard to push stiffer blade through the water. When you need a speed, then you can use your legs more, and you can really like muscle this hard blade through the water really like well. But in freediving, we want like little effort, and then we want this gentle kick, and then we want to rest and glide. So that's for the blade. For the foot pockets, that's currently we have improved, like for example, like with our foot pocket, like it's now with a very, very soft lining. It's like new lining since February, when we launched the new model CM3. And there the lining is soft, so like even like if you take very tight foot pocket, it's still comfortable. But that's their like planning behind foot pocket. If you want it for performance, then you want to sport like tight feet, because you want your feet basically becomes like squished a little bit, like it becomes like this, like a climbing shoes. And this way your feet is much more tight. It's like tighter, and then you have a better transfer of the energy, because there is no looseness. There is no like basically lost impulse. And if you want comfort, of course, you take standard feet or even comfortable feet, like slightly larger feet, so you can swim with it like hour or more than an hour. But there you'll have a bit of looseness, and this looseness will be like a little bit of lost performance. But if you are not aiming to be like national champion, or like, then it's not that important, right? If you're there for comfort and pleasure, go for comfortable fit. If you're there for like performance, where you still can wear the monofin for like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and for example, for me, I still I use it for all my dives. I just put a little bit of silicone inside, silicone grease, and then you can put Monofin in the water, take it off. And like while you rest for 5 minutes, your feet are rested, put it on again. So you can play with this as well.
So it's a trade-off between comfort and performance.
always, yes. Yeah. So for the stiffness of the blade, there is no much trade-off because like you actually can enjoy your like you can do recreational freediver and you still can use soft fin, and you can become like top competitor level freediver and you can still use the soft fin, because like that's the most efficient, and that's the difference in freediving compared to other sports. Like in skis, for example, like recreational skiers will not be able to use competitive skis because they're too stiff, they're made for speed. In freediving, it's opposite. Like competitive freedivers use the most efficient blades, the most efficient like combinations. So like in freediving, we can like use sport tools. The biggest difference in fins is the size. It's like how much compression you want to have the best feel of the blade.
Yeah, it seems to be a trend that people are going much more for softer fins now than they used to. Yeah.
And then in terms of skills, softer fins require a bit more skills. So that's true. With a stiffer fin, you just kick. You can bend your knees, you can kick, and you'll move. And then your legs will be tired, but that's like easy to learn. You don't need to learn technique. With the softer fins, you need to learn technique. It takes a bit of time, but with the modern exercises and methods, it's not like actually so hard. And in Molchanovs education system, we focus a lot on the exercises. So you actually like teach from the very first steps, like basic exercises, but still you like focus people's students' attention on exercises, like why we want to engage ankle, why we want like for flutter kick, not only for dolphin kick, even for flutter kick. And then when we like improve there, we save oxygen. We just like swim better. We don't need such a like wide amplitude. We can like we do symmetrical kicking. So instead of pushing forward only, we can push forward and we can push backward behind the back. So like we have a symmetrical kicking, and it's more efficient. And then if we have less amplitude, not such a wide big amplitude, we have also more hydrodynamic position, because like when we have a large amplitude, we slow ourselves down with our like widespread legs.
Yeah.
Right? So if we're more narrow kicking, like narrow to medium kicking, we are more hydrodynamic as well.
Makes totally sense. And I really like it that the Monofin Freediving is also part of the Molchanovs education system, like with regular courses. It's from most education system, it's excluded. They do the bi-fin stuff. Sometimes they do the no-fin stuff, but Monofin is rarely an aspect of the usual courses. So it's, I think it's a big difference that you have that.
Well, just like I've always been natural, because I think even the foundation of the system was when my mom was creating the system. It's like it was merged from the very beginning. It was together with training. So like we started to develop the system not only with the courses but also with training levels. And like when you train with Monofin as well, and everybody loves Monofin, like especially like because the system was born in like Freediving Federation in Russia, and my mom was developing it, being an active athlete herself. So like it was training and like courses, and no fins and Monofin, like no fins as well. Like no fins actually you can rarely see in the courses worldwide. And then just recently, I think I'd added a little bit of no fins, but not really. It's like not really like a course. And we had no fins always a part of the courses because it's important. Like with the no fins, it's new challenges, new skills. It's interesting. You learn how to swim, you learn how to dive without fins, and it's like it's something just to keep you motivated. Like you have this challenge, you have this freedom as well. Like if you even lost your fins or like whatever, your luggage didn't come, you can just go and dive with a mask without fins. So that's just like learning more skills, taking more skills, and that's always useful.
Yeah, that's really cool. And one of the biggest hassles for people often is to get pool time with fins. So without fins, it's much easier.
Yeah.
So what is the idea, the philosophy behind the Molchanovs education system?
Idea is like, if you look at the core, it's gradual progress. It's very gradual progress. Like it's very important for the first steps to not to look for results and numbers. And that was very core of my mom's original planning for the system, because a lot of the time people, when they start, they really want to get results fast, and then really pushing for the results without building the foundation burns like it creates overtraining. It's like we physically can overtrain, we mentally can overtrain, and if we don't focus on the most important basic levels, like technique and relaxation, and technique in terms of swimming, breathing, equalization. So technique is the most important, plus relaxation. And then when we have this, we learn how to enjoy the dives, and we actually, even when we have this as a foundation, we then progress towards more intensive dives, towards more intensive breath holds or distant dives, anything. And because of this efficiency, we can actually enjoy this, even the harder part of the dive better. So we don't really struggle, we don't fight to we actually can experience a bit of urge to breathe, but we still have everything under control because we have much more efficiency and control. So that's something like very gradual progress. That's important, and working on the foundation first and then progressing.
Absolutely.
And training is one of the parts why we do this. Courses will not build the foundation. Courses will give you a bit of knowledge, but then the training gives you foundation.
Yeah, I really love that idea, because people, they get lost between courses, and to keep going, they need to take another course and are not sure if they can do it or not. So besides the courses, you're also doing the base training, and you have the community running. Can you tell us a little bit about that? How freedivers benefit, how instructors benefit?
Base training, we have this, now it's on the dashboard, we have this platform, Molchanovs Movement, and there we have suggested workouts for their pool, for the dry training, for the depth training. For the instructors, it's a really good tool, because there's it's a general guidance how to work with the students and show what to do. With instructors, it makes it much more unified, and gives a bit more time and focus for the instructors actually work on what they can do the best. They can give feedback, do individual adjustments. So being present with the student, you can correct their technique, and not really guess how to build the best progression over the 12-week cycle. We have this 12-week cycle, which is a standard cycle, and allows for relatively short, not too long, but and relatively efficient, because it's optimal. It's considered to be optimal, right? Of course, there is a room for individual adjustments, but in general, it's an optimal cycle. And for the instructors, it makes their work easier and more efficient, and then you can focus on what you can do the best, really fine tune and give feedback and make sure that the students get the most out of this training. For the students, this training is basically, if they participate in, they are lucky and they have clubs and instructors around, then they come and they actually benefit. They have double benefit. They have training, and they have instructors' attention and safety and everything. If there is no instructors in the region, and they have partners, they can train together with the partners. It's also the way to keep community busy, because if there's freedivers who live in remote areas, who don't have access to the trainings, but still would like to keep going, that'll be beneficial for everyone, because basically those freedivers will stay motivated. They will be able to see growth of results, and then they will be keen to continue and join some adventures, and join maybe travel to participate in the events of those instructors who are a bit further from them. So that's a way to guide the community and instructors in the direction. And then if somebody wants more actual coaching, then that's how we would try to create more and more instructors. And then thank you, Alexander, for becoming an IT from Molchanovs, so we can grow a number of instructors in the region. And this way we can grow in more, get people excited and
Yeah, I love the idea. I think it's totally new, not to just offer courses and to get certifications going, but also to offer the community and to help people to keep free diving and to practice. So there's this word, a Molchanovs Movement. There are quite a few components. It's the education, it's the base training. What else is there?
it's education, it's courses, base training, and it's movement as a whole. Like there is a where we like do this challenges right now. So we try to like have creative ideas, and we also get them from community as well. But we have the like we have this focus to create like this to support community with some content as well, some interviews, YouTube videos where we share like knowledge from ambassadors and from like top freedivers of the world. And then we launch these challenges to award people with badges. So the badges, we also have these badges for their pool workouts, where there is like a badge for 16x50s, for the slow 50-meter crawling, like a turtle race. And then also now we do this for dry challenges, because that's like what everybody can do right now. So we have this squats challenge. We have this team squat challenge right now going on. And that requires some teamwork. Like you have like some people just like you need a bit of coordination, and that's really fun. You actually it allows for a bit of communication and fun time together while even we're remote. Like we had this team apnea challenge yesterday with our like some of our national team members, and then like I didn't talk to them. Beside this challenge, we didn't have a chance to actually talk to each other. And now like we meet together in Zoom, we talk about the rules, we squat together, have a good laugh, and that's like awesome to spend a bit of time together. So yeah, that's like the focus, the community movement. Like the movement is like everything together, like education and training and fun as well, and some challenges. Like it's like now it's online challenges, but like later on it can be like also like real world challenges, meetups, talks. So like we have a lot of plans for this movement
totally cool
development.
I can't wait to see it growing.
Thank you. Yeah. And it's good to have community support. So like the only reason for us to grow and like to develop this direction is when we see support, when we see people engaging, actually do those challenges, actually giving feedback. So that's like something which drives us is their like positive feedback.
Yeah, cool. Great. Does anybody have any more questions for Alexey? Anything you always wanted to know about Monofin Freediving or Molchanovs?
Yeah, it's
a question.
Natalie is asking. She says, yes, we have more questions. Okay.
Can we talk about brands?
Well, I can talk about everything. So ask me anything. Yeah, we covered Molchanovs Movement, and it's like the educational part of like our company, and then like that's what like we focused a little bit. We talked a bit more of it in the beginning as well. So yeah, there is two directions. Like if you talk about Molchanovs, two directions. It's like community education, and then gear as well. So that's with the gear, it's something which supports like our records, my world records. So that's like something we.
And it looks totally cool.
And I really like. We have awesome designer. We have awesome team for the gear as well. And I just love to do it because it's like. I think we have this unique opportunity where we're very close to the community, and we have this close communication with instructors, ITs, like record holders, and national and world record holders. And then we can get this feedback and improve the gear, like having this very close communication with the gear, with the community. And before, like if you look at the general like change of the gear this year, before we mostly had like top like performance gear, like expensive, hard like high level monofins and bifins, and with more time we grow the line as well, and we're adding this core line. We call it core line. So we have this competition line and core line, and core is like this foundation basic line, which is like core for any freediver. So we have this. If you saw the news on the social Instagram, or like we had this launch of some sneak previews for this year of the like core wetsuits or like core rubber fins, so something like to actually that every freediver can have, like it doesn't without spending like premium price on the competition gear, which is always expensive because it's like a lot of manual like labor built into this. Okay, so like the question is about Monofin, and then Natalie wants to buy one. Can I recommend a brand? Well, it's a tricky question to ask me that, because of course I would recommend our brand on the first place. And I think because I strongly believe that like we have the best interest of freedivers in like on the first place, and I'm active freediver, and like especially with Monofin, I don't know a lot of Monofin brands which would be like actually have good expertise in freediving. Like like our expertise comes actually from like fine tuning Monofins, because Monofin was developed a long time ago. Like Monofin was developed 1970s, standard Monofin, and then the more modern shape of Monofin was developed 1990s and towards 2000. But it was developed for fin swimming, and like most of the brands worldwide, there are fin swimming brands, and they just don't have this mindset of freedivers. They don't know, they don't have the team of people who test this Monofins for freediving. So in this with a like situation where like we have this availability of athletes, we just, yeah, I think our fins are the most fine tuned and developed for specifically freediving. Well, Monofins, can I put the link? I can surely put the link. Let me see if I can fastly, but no problem.
Yeah, I think it's really a big difference if you use monofins that are made for fin swimming, or if it's specifically for freediving. And I love the idea to have equipment from freedivers for freedivers, because they really know what people need in that sport.
Yeah. So now we have the latest Monofin available. And let me see if I can put the link. Oh, yeah, here's the link.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, and then there's one little page where it's like a couple of older models films available now, just if somebody was looking for the last year model. So just because it's like almost finished, but if somebody was looking for it. Yeah, so that's like, for me, it's not like I'm not just blindly recommending our blend, but I really know how much effort, like how many hours I put into development of this and both S2 and CM3 model and bifins and everything. It's like and in this actually winter and now as well, I think this COVID situation actually in some ways helped, because it locked me down at home, and then I was able to spend so much more time on developing the gear and design the community projects, but also the gear project as well. So like, because of this time, we will see much more cool stuff coming soon. You will see.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I still can't decide on the color, but I'll figure that out.
Yeah, you probably saw the suitcases. Have you seen? We had a sneak preview of the suitcases.
Wow.
Where we had this first 4-wheel, like real suitcase coming out. So that's like something that I'm waiting. But finally, I will not need to carry my Monofin on the shoulders.
Yeah, that's totally cool. Can't see the link. I'll post the link below the video, so everybody, also those guys watching afterwards, will.
Yeah. Well, I can see my links. I can see my links from me.
Yeah, it's because it's posted for the panelists, but not for the attendees.
No, I think I see all. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I can see now. Sorry, Natalie.
Yeah, I'll repost it. No problem. Okay. Great. Are there any more questions? Thanks, regarding monofins or anything else you would like to ask, Alexey, before we wrap it up? Ready? No?
Yeah, well, how is the general how's it going with the dry training in Germany? Is it like any questions during the dry training? How's your, like, with my example of Moscow school, for example, we have this, like, actually we were able to get the students busy with this. So beside the Molchanovs International, right, I can give an example of what we do in Moscow with a little school in Moscow we have. It's like all the students that were training actively, we launched for them this online classes through Zoom specifically, and like actually guided with a coach who is looking at the videos. It's not just like repetition, like where there is no feedback, but with actual feedback where you have like 8 people, 10 people maximum to fit into the screen. And then you like do the exercises, stretching, like all this exercise, and you look at the screen and you give feedback to the students immediately and answer the questions. So that type of like something I think was really, really cool to do, like, which really benefits students. So if you tired, like sitting and not doing a lot of exercises, or like you want. So like that's something, some type of activity you can do. Develop.
Absolutely, yeah, that's a great idea.
Breath holds as well, like a 1 hour sessions of actual guided breath holds, breathing muscle stretching, equalization classes. So like actually it's good to take time and like, okay, like once per week we have this 1 hour equalization trainings where like you really focus on like all muscles like glottis, tongue, soft palate, and coordination and breath hold with equalization imitation. So like really like breath hold, like perform equalization for certain like prolonged time and like have a bit of urge to breathe, but then still keep control to like continue equalization. So it's a lot of things to do like right now. And if you
absolutely. I started a couple of master classes on stretching, relaxation, and also equalization and dry training. And but I feel that people are still not used to going online for freediving. So I think they need to grow into it more and more, but I see more and more people taking advantage of that, and that's really good. And there are no excuses of not training.
Yeah, it's not just like it's a little bit like hard to try in the beginning, but like it's good to give it a try. But because like it's very productive. You like 1 hour, you really like working out. You have ability to ask questions. You have ability to like get feedback, and very easy. I can see the question about the dry training for the monofin. Let me think. So we gave some examples of the trainings on our Molchanovs Freediving YouTube channel. Of course we couldn't like really like give the same amount of information like in this 10-15 minute videos. And there were some exercises on breath hold, but not on the monofin dry training. So for the monofin dry training, you like Alexandra can give your like example and basically like I think I would be able to show. I just don't have the setup. I would be like maybe the camera on the floor, but it's also like it's like a lot of exercises. Like as in the beginning I mentioned, right? It's like you go just all the way from the tip of the toes to their arms, like for the flexibility, and then you go like you do some strength exercises and coordination, and just you learn how to engage the whole. Like you basically want to have enough flexibility to be able to arch and like open, like move your legs as far back as possible, and then push the monofin like fins forward as possible, and then you can imitate this movement on the floor and in the vertical position. But I think it's a little bit hard to explain.
Yeah, I'll put together the little PDF with the exercises you were talking about.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, great. Any more questions? Yoga is a real good dry training.
Yoga is good, and for monofin, yes, the general flexibility is good. We have a bit of like some exercises we do are a bit more specific. So, for example, like ankle stretching and like feet stretching is something we focus a lot, and it's not always present in yoga classes, but it can be adjusted. And like arrow position, like shoulders, so like this actual like very like really like trying to like stretch your back muscles, and it's really useful. Belly training, that's totally helpful, very helpful.
Excellent. Well, thank you. We've got a lot of information.
Thank you, Alexandra, and thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you for taking your time, and take care, stay safe, and hope to see you in the water sometime.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, I will definitely come to Germany.